Sometimes people can be a little, don't talk about that.
Well, people have their criticisms, so, what are we going to do about people and their persnickety, if you will, criticisms?
Well, this is actually a good question that you're bringing up because it's a question we get a lot. How do we deal with the constant barrage of criticism, I would say?
It is a barrage.
And how do we deal with that?
How do you deal with it? Or you want me to go first?
Yeah, why don't you talk about how you deal with it first?
Well, I have a weird ability, I guess, to just let it flow off. Although there is every once in a while, someone will level a criticism, and I'm like, oh, well, that's valid. Yeah, and I'll address it, and I'll think, and I'll, maybe not fixate on it, but think about it enough, and then maybe implement that. It used to be like technical issues, like with the show or how whatever, and I'd be like, no, most of this is completely invalid, and I don't care what they say. But for some reason, some stuff does get through that I feel is valid, and I onboard it, if you will.
Can you remember the last time that you heard a criticism and decided to onboard that criticism?
I don't. I wish I did. If this had been a planned intro topic,
you could have done some research.
Yeah, I may have been able to noodle it through. I mean, it happens pretty frequently. I'm doing everything right. But a lot of criticism that we get is easy to ignore because it's just unfounded. It's shitty. I mean, oftentimes especially doing this show, there are people who are sexist and misogynist against you. Like somebody left a comment saying something like, ditch the chick or something and stick to the original show. Stick to what you do. It's like, well, this is the original show. If it weren't for this podcast and our work over the past almost a decade, there would be no Dollemore Daily. There would be no YouTube show.
Yes. I will read that comment in a moment because it gets to my point about how I can handle criticism. Because I talked openly about my fears about doing YouTube before I started doing it with my own channel. Go subscribe. And
yeah, you should subscribe.
And part of the fear was, reading shitty comments because I saw how people treated you and I was nervous to step into that. It honestly isn't so bad. And I don't know why it's not something that bothers me. It's not something I hold on to. I think it's because throughout my life, I've been rather unpopular. By that, I mean, I have known from a very young age that I'm not for everybody.
Yeah.
And that's partly because I am like foul-mouthed and very direct, and I kind of...
You don't shirk from controversy or confrontation.
Yeah, and I don't go out of my way to make people uncomfortable. I'm not trying to say that.
Yeah.
I'm a friendly person who wants to make people comfortable, but at the same time, I can really get in there and mix it up if like a political debate comes up, for example. And I really was not popular in high school. I know that's shocking. It's not shocking. So I think I don't know. I'm not immune to it because certainly it can bother me at times, but I'm not as upset by it as I thought I would be.
That's what I want to get to.
Yeah.
So what is it that's different? Because obviously the hate is still there. The comments, the vitriol, the venom, the shitty YouTube comments that are, it's YouTube, so people are terrible. Like they don't think that we are like real people or something who are gonna read the comment. It's like when I guest host for Pac-Man. Every time I do, and it's okay. I get it. People they're not into me. I'm not their thing. They expect David Pac-Man, a guest host, to be exactly like Pac-Man, I guess. There's only one David, and I'm not that. That's not who I am.
Yeah.
I am this guy.
Yeah.
I mean, for the show, when the camera's on, it might be amped up by like 10% or something. More hand flourish and, more faces or something, maybe.
Yeah.
I guess.
Yeah.
But this is, like, if you're hanging out and we're having a party, this is it. This is what you get. So I'm going off the rails here. I understand I'm not for everybody, But to just write that down, like, who's this fucking guy? Blah, blah. It's uncalled for?
Yeah. Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah, but I guess when you put yourself out there in a public way, it's to be expected, you know? And I think I try to follow the content of other people that kind of take the same approach. Like, I love Mark Maron, for example, and I listen to his podcast pretty frequently, and he's kind of the same way, where he has a particular way of doing comedy. He has a particular way of viewing the world, and it's not really a popular way. It's not like a typical way. And so he has found his audience. He has found the people who like what he does. And that's kind of just what happens. You have to find the people who do like what you do, who do think that you are saying important things, and who like your approach. And the people who don't like it may comment on it, and that's okay, because you already know, hey, there's going to be people that don't like me. It's a reality of the world. But I think what helps with YouTube is this juxtaposition of two comments that I caught on the last episode that we did and put on YouTube. It kind of illustrates pretty perfectly.
Is this one of the ones I was just referring to?
Yes.
Because you showed me this and I was like, these people.
Yeah, but this really represents what we're talking about here, where you are just not going to be for everybody, and you have to learn to accept that. I mean, in life, on YouTube, in a podcast, in your comedy, whatever it is, you are not going to be for everybody.
In your friend group.
Absolutely. And you just have to accept that.
Yeah,
so these comments from Steve Wilson: ditch the girl. She wastes too much time. Talk about nothing. Stick to your original format. That's the one that you were referenced.
My original format.
Ditch the girl.
Ditch her.
And Steven says, Jesse, babe, listen more, talk less when the wonderful Brittany has access to the microphone. Lay back, brother.
Oh, no. You see there, right there. That is advice that I'm trying to imbue into myself. I'm trying to put that into action. What it is, it's 8 years, 9 years, almost 10 years of doing this show and doing it a certain way and having to kind of reprogram myself. Because a lot of these people don't understand the history of the show, that when we started, you weren't officially co-host. You were almost like just there to give me a breather in between talking. You didn't know how involved you wanted to be. And so I developed a certain, some people think it's asshole-ish, and I am kind of an interrupter anyway. But I'm dealing with it. I'm trying to make myself better.
Yeah. So yeah, I think it's a balance that you have to find of, there are going to be legitimate criticisms, things that you can do well. Like, someone emailed us and was mad that on the Robert P. Jones episode, when we got to the end, we didn't restate his name and the name of the book, because for their perspective, they had been listening for an hour. And then I guess we didn't restate the name and the name of the book.
Yeah, I don't get that.
And I'm like, well, that's actually, if that's true, it seems dumb that we didn't say the name again and the name of the book.
Here's what you do if you're listening. You look on your device, and in the title of the episode, it says The Hidden Roots of White Supremacy and a Shared Path Forward for America, whatever the title is. You just look at the title on the episode title.
Yeah.
It's right there.
Yeah. Yeah. I think a lot of it also comes with age and just kind of knowing yourself. Like, obviously I'm being dramatic when I say I'm unpopular. I'm just trying to say that I'm not like a throwing my hair back.
Yeah.
I'm not, I think, what people would want or expect me to be sometimes based on how I look.
Yeah, well, let me interrupt you just for a second. I think it kind of breaks down along the boss lady, no, she's a bitch, because like you act in many ways the way I act, and people don't fucking think about it for a second when I do it, but when you do it, it's like, this is a turnoff. It's just kind of ingrained misogyny in people.
Sure. And another difficult aspect, I guess, is having people tell me that I look like different people. I have a running list of the people that I've been told that I look like.
Like a 68-year-old Debbie Reynolds.
Yeah, it's very funny. I mean, and this has been a good lesson for me, too, that beauty really is in the eye of the beholder, that some people think I look like Myrna Loy. Okay, that's a recent one I got.
I had to look that up.
Some people think I look like Jenna Fisher. I mean, it's a nightmare out there. And even if it's like, you tell me I look like someone that is like conventionally attractive, it still is like, I don't know. I don't really want to see it sometimes.
Well, also,
that can be difficult.
That's not where your value lies.
Yeah.
You have nothing to do with that. That's not you choose to be educated and informed about the topics you are. So that's compliment me on that for sure.
Can you imagine if I could choose to look like Margot Robbie? Oh my God. Like if you could just go to the store and choose something. I'll take Margot, please.
I don't know if I'd choose that.
Oh.
What would I choose?
I would choose
probably
that.
just be myself. I'd probably be less fat.
You're like Manny from
But I also
Modern
have
Family.
some control over that.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah. All right. Well, the
We'd
more
love
you
to know what you think.
Yeah. Hopefully you learned something. Hopefully that was an answer to the question that we seriously get quite frequently. I think it's because people see the negativity that we get. Mm-hmm. It isn't often sent to us like an email directly. It'll be on Twitter. It'll be on social media. It'll be in the comments on YouTube. But it's rare that we get it directly. Sometimes in a voicemail.
If I answer a troll online or even on Twitter, it's usually only because, one, I'm bored, or I'm just in a really bad fucking mood. Because for me, it's usually very easy to ignore.
Yeah.
Anyway, we would love to know what you think. Odd jumping off point here. 657-464-7609. Of course, you can email a voice memo from your smartphone or just a regular old-fashioned email to idoubt@dollemore.com.